What's going on, Faithful? Thanks for joining us this week on the Niners News Update. This week, we have, just to start with, after reporting on the fact that we had only had one COVID positive player on the list last week in Mitch Wishnowsky, we had several of our defensive backs placed on the COVID list this week. Now, fortunately, prior to the Rams game coming up, we do have the news that several of our big time defensive backs are going to be active, which is huge news because the defensive backs that we do have, like we've been beaten a lot in pass interference situations, as you know, the most in the league. Yeah, of those four players activated are cornerback Dante Johnson, safety Jimmy Ward, uh, nickelback Kwan Williams, and another corner Diamador Lenore, who has been playing recently more in a special teams role. As far as the game, we had the Houston Texans this week in what was a battle of rookie quarterbacks. Trey Lance set to make his second career start ever against Houston Texans rookie Davis Mills. And in that game, the Texans would get the ball to start off. And on the very first play was a run by Rex Burkhead. And he was tackled for a loss by DJ Jones. And the Texans would end up going 3 and out. And they ran 3 straight plays, 2 runs and a pass to Burkhead. I think like total in all like their first 5 or 6 plays between their first and second drive were all either runs or passes to Burkhead. It's like
That's
basically
weird.
it's very very one dimensional
Like you
offense.
guys playing like arcade,
Yeah,
difficulty
yeah,
Madden. Like what are you doing here? Like
exactly. They're trying to get him to like go on fire, But the problem is he wasn't getting any momentum. So for the Niners' first drive, as soon as Trey walked onto the field, he got a huge ovation. Not the faithful finally getting what they've clamored for all season long. Trey Lance getting the start, but the Niners
yeah.
would end up going 3 and out on our first drive after 2 runs for not much, and on on a third down, Trey Lance would scramble for 6, but we'd end up punting after that as well. So Texans second possession, like I said, more plays to Burkhead and another punt.
Three more plays on
Yeah,
so
yeah.
on
Is
first
is it
both
3?
both
So okay,
possessions.
yeah. So it was 6 then. Okay, so that confirms
Oh
it.
my
They
God,
went to Burkhead their
why?
first 6 plays. I mean, he had a huge game against the Chargers in that huge upset win. Maybe they thought, but we've defended the run well all season. If you're gonna beat the Niners defense, you've got to do it through the air.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if for your sake, get some defensive pass interference calls against us, which we'll get more
Right.
into in a minute. So
Yeah, that's just crazy to go six plays in a row to the same guy.
Burkhead, it's like, hey,
That's
like I
insane.
think I think it's gonna work this time, guys. I
Yeah.
think this is the time.
Six, six
David
times
David
the charm, guys. Like
David Culley's in there with Tim Kelly, the offensive coordinator, and he's like, you know what, Coach? This fucking time, we got him. We fucking got him. But I guarantee it. This is the time.
there's no way they think we're gonna call it a
No,
5th time,
no.
and then on the 6th time, well, now there's no way that they think
Yeah.
we're gonna call it again.
I mean, if you're the Houston Texans, Kyle Shanahan's like, they may run every play this game. So Trey Lance would end up completing his first pass of the day to Elijah Mitchell for 3 yards. So small pickup, but it's good to get the first one off the board.
Something.
Then the Niners would end up running Kittle out of the backfield for a gain of 6. So they were facing a 3rd and 1. Trey would pick up the first down on a quarterback sneak. Elijah Mitchell on the next play gains 13 on a nice run. However, the drive would end up stalling out. We would go for it on a 4th and 1, and I didn't like the play call at all. It was Trey Lance, taking the snap out of the shotgun and then pitching it to
Mhm.
Elijah Mitchell on a 4th and 1. That's a play that requires too much
Yeah.
development in the backfield. You want something that's gonna go quick to the hole. Like, I mean, they ran a
Right.
quarterback sneak earlier in the drive, and I mean, I guess you could think that maybe Houston's gonna load the A gap and defend that, but I
Right.
don't I don't know. I think that would have been a better play call. But we got tackled for like a loss of 3. Um, so the Texans
Yeah, so
picked. Go ahead.
I was just going to say the Texans pick up their initial first drive of the day, but once again stall out,
Yep,
and the game was just a big punt fest.
it was.
Starting out like this, it was
Yep.
just back and forth. Well, it was just the punters getting lots of work today.
Yeah, and at that time, Mitch Wishnowsky fresh off the COVID list, so he punted pretty well given the situation. You know, he didn't really show any ill effects of that, which was big.
Yeah, you never really know when a player comes back from COVID. Like when Taylor Heineke
Right,
came back
right.
the week after his. I mean, he had a
Yeah,
terrible game. I mean, I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but
right.
it's one of those things that if it's a lingering kind of thing, and then they're still they might not positive, and they're still weak from it. It could definitely affect their playing.
Yeah, I think that definitely happened with Taylor because his symptoms were pretty severe from what I had heard. Um, so yeah, I mean the Niners would put together their best drive to that point, backed up inside their own 10. Trey finds Brandon Ayuk for a gain of 12 and a first down. Then we ran the just gonna call it the Debo special when we lined Debo up in the backfield and he would pick up 13 on the following play, and then one play later going to Trent Sherfield for his 8th catch of the season. I love when we get him involved. I really thought when we picked him up from the Cardinals we were going to use Trent Sherfield more in the passing game, but
Mm.
really hasn't developed that way. I mean, he's like I said, he's only got 8 catches. He plays on special teams every single game, but you know he's a really good player. So um, I mean that just really shows you how big Juwan Jennings has stepped up for us, though.
Yeah, he has been really good actually.
He has been. He has been.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then the Niners would end up picking up 4 first downs on that drive before Trey would end up taking his first and only sack of the game in this play. He forward his drop ball. But he wanted like
He can run me. Yeah, I don't know. Good.
First, then facing a free Mills, somebody other Brandon cut first down. A1 Williams slot corner providing the coverage, and then with one left to play, Davis Mills would connect with Brandon to give Houston a surprising 7. So zero scoring for
Yeah,
was
the way that was odd.
Yeah.
That is zero Texas. Not what I was expecting.
Pick a team to be up 7-0. You probably would have expected it to be the
Of course, absolutely.
So then also at directioning, and Abu Kamara Samson would end up split back of Davis Mills would stall out the drive. The Niners.
A sack of Davis. What's a sack of Davis Mills? You know, like a sack of Davis Mills.
Yeah,
Stupid joke, but
I understand. Yeah, they would get sack on Davis Mills, and then the Niners would get one last chance to score points before the second half, with 38 seconds left, and Trey would find Debo for a gain of 17 on the first play of the drive. On the following play, Trey connects with Ayuk for a gain of 27 on one of the best plays of the game, and Ayuk gets out of bounds with 14 seconds left, and then it was a crazy situation where Trey went to throw the ball and it went right through the Houston defender's hands, got tipped, and it went right into Ayuk's hands, who was standing right at the. Did you see that? Ayuk was standing right at the sideline, and
yeah, that
ended
shit
up
was
getting
crazy.
the ball deflected right to him. So that gets us right in you know it made the field goal attempt way shorter. It was a 37-yard attempt at that point.
Yeah, definitely.
Robbie's almost automatic inside 40s, so he drills a 37-yarder, cuts the game to 7-3 at the half. So at least we had something positive to build off of going into the half.
Yeah,
and then also getting the ball coming out of the second half, which is always good when you get the opportunity to double up like that. Score before halftime and then also get the ball. So the Niners would get down to the Houston 33 after a huge catch and run by Ayuk. Ayuk had an absolutely huge game. I mean, he went absolutely off. I'll give you. He had 4 catches for 94 yards, which is season high to this point. So he led all the Niners receivers. And yeah, we ended up taking it down into field goal range off that one play. But the Niners end up coming away with no points after that, after they would go for it on a 4th and 1. and we would target Ayuk, and the pass would fall incomplete. Houston would take over, but 6 plays later, Davis Mills throws his first interception of the day to Marcel Harris, our former safety turned linebacker, and that would set the Niners up nicely. They'd be aided by a 37-yard pass interference call, which would allow us to set up an 8-yard touchdown pass from Trey to Elijah Mitchell, which was Trey's 4th passing touchdown of the season, and that would put the Niners ahead for their first lead of the game, 10-7.
Yeah, definitely starting to look good. And then the Niners managed to stall out the ensuing Houston drive as Jordan Willis would pick up a sack in his 2nd straight drive.
Yep, 2nd straight game, yeah.
Or 2nd straight game, yes. Yeah. Excuse me.
No, I knew what you meant. And then, Davis Mills ending up going to Cooks again. You notice a pattern. I mean, they pretty much all they've got is Brandon Cooks and Rex Burkhead for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little Nico Collins here and there. So you can tell why Houston was a 4-12 team after this. So he ends up getting a huge gain, but Houston gets called for holding, so that kind of summarizes how the game went for him. So backed him all the way up. At the end of the 3rd quarter, the Niners were holding on to a 10-7 lead. After that, we kind of turned it on a little bit on them, but they were.
Although we get this quick, not surprising thing that happened.
Yeah, go ahead.
On a 3rd and 11, Josh Norman was called for defensive interference, which gave Houston 33 yards of field position and an automatic first down. So, Josh Norman, thanks again, man.
Yeah. I mean, he actually, for the first time since he really had that meltdown earlier in the season. I want to say, I think it was against Seattle. No, it was against Arizona, because it was the situation where it was him and Cliff Kingsbury. I remember that, and he got benched for the first time after that pass interference. So he would be benched in favor of Dante Johnson, who's a veteran corner for us. He's been on the team a couple different stints. But on the next play, he would get flagged for an additional 22 yards on another. So it was weird. On back-to-back calls, we got penalized. So those would be the 18th and 19th defensive pass interference calls against the Niners this season, which obviously is
I don't know what is going on in that backfield, but Jesus Christ.
I know. I think that it's safe to say that, I mean, obviously there's other positions, but I would be shocked if the Niners don't draft a corner with our first pick. Obviously, we don't have a first-round pick this year because of the Trey trade, but maybe in the 2nd round we.
Probably.
I'd be shocked likely if we didn't get a corner. So surprise, here's another guy we're always talking about. Obviously going to earn himself some money. Arden Key managing to pick up a huge 3rd down sack, which forced a longer field goal attempt than originally planned by Kaimi Fairbairn, a 46-yarder attempt. But it was no good. It was no good. So the Texans would come away with nothing after a pretty positive drive. After that, still up 10-7, the Niners would drive 65 yards in 5 plays. Trey finds Debo on a beautiful 45-yard pass. Everybody says that we don't take enough shots down the field. He took a little bit of a shot down the field on that one, and Debo scored all the way for 17 to put the Niners ahead 17-7. On the day, Debo's numbers, not much of a threat in the backfield compared to usual. Only 7 carries for 19 yards, but he did have 3 catches for 63 yards and a touchdown, so averaging over 20 yards per reception.
Yeah, those rushing yards aren't quite like you're used to hearing.
Yeah.
Also, what was weird is how Kittle was held without a catch until the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
You hate to see Kittle not being targeted, but fortunately Trey looked his way on a 3rd and 12 for a gain of 29 yards. So at least he got something going there.
Yeah, that's big. Now what's notable about that is Kittle came into this game with 871 receiving yards. So that 29 brought him up to an even 900. So with 1 game to go, obviously the Rams have a pretty good defense, but Kittle's got a shot at his 3rd career 1,000-yard season with the Niners. He already has established a career high this season for touchdowns with 6. So we'll have to see. But yeah, Trey really didn't look his way. It definitely only targeted twice, caught one for 29
Yeah,
yards. And, that's coming off a game where he had 2 catches for 21 yards against the Titans and really didn't see a lot of looks either. And that's coming after 3 historic games. So hopefully we can get him on track and get a win against the Rams and get into the playoffs and have, because we really want to feed Kittle. He's definitely a player you want to get involved. Let's see here. So at that point, we were ahead 17-7.
Yeah, on the following play, Elijah Mitchell broke a run of 37 yards to take the ball down to the Texans 6. The Niners would add another field goal to make the lead 20-7 with 3:19 left in the game.
Yeah, at that point, starting to feel pretty good against, that Houston offense, which isn't a huge threat. Houston would end up turning it over on downs in a situation where they would have to go for it on a 4th and 2 with Dante Johnson, who was in there for Josh Norman, making a nice pass breakup on a pass intended for Nico Collins. So
good to see that at least, subbing him in paid off after the first immediate defensive pass interference.
And Josh Norman didn't end up coming back in the game, so I'm very curious to see if he ends up coming out there against the Rams, because he's not one of our defensive backs that was on the COVID list. So as far as I know, Josh Norman is healthy. So if he's not out there playing, I'd imagine it's more of a performance thing. So the Niners would end up taking back over after the turnover on downs with 2:41 left in the game, and we'd add one more 36-yard Robbie Gould field goal to take a 23-7 lead with 1:12 left. Houston was not able to do anything else. So picking up the 23-7 win, definitely a game that you would expect to win and by a score that I wasn't shocked by. I was just shocked going into the half trailing 7-3 to the Texans.
Yeah. That was odd. That was a very strange start.
A little bit of a slow start, but you can't say that we never started slow in games with Jimmy.
And you know what, Trey needed some time to get in the rhythm and start getting going, and that seems like what happened. So.
And that happens with Jimmy sometimes from time to time too. I mean, I've seen a few games where we'll have 3 or like no points in the first half, or maybe even get like a touchdown before the half. And then the Niners come out in the second half and really turn it on. So I will say this. Kyle is really good at making halftime adjustments. If something's not working in the half, it's like, okay, this isn't working. Let's try something different. But also just want to mention the potential returns of several key players going into the Rams game. The practice windows have been activated for Emmanuel Mosley coming off IR, and also wide receiver Mohamed Sanu. We've obviously mentioned Juwan Jennings, Ayuk, and Debo all playing really good receiver for us. Also Trent Sherfield when he gets an opportunity to sprinkled in there. So it'll be interesting if we get Mohamed Sanu back for the last game or the playoffs to see, getting us even more dangerous at that wide receiver position. Azeez Al-Shire just missed the last game, but he's obviously been having his best season ever. And Dre Greenlaw also coming back. This will only be his 3rd game of the season that he's played in. He's had a groin injury a lot of the year and complications with that. So hopefully we can win against the Rams because we need to win or have the Falcons lose to get into the playoffs.
And then at this point, I mean, beat the Rams and be nice and healthy playoffs as long as everything stays good in the Rams. Players coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm so excited to get Emmanuel Mosley back because, like I said, he's our best corner outside of Jason Verrett, who's been out since week 1 against the Lions. I mean, we haven't had him in ever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely looking forward to it. But, I mean, we really need to – I mean, we can't leave it up to the Falcons to beat the Saints. We really need to go in there and handle business. And we've won 5 straight against the Rams, so – you would think that we've got the advantage, but I mean the Rams also know that we've won 5 straight against them, so it's like, when's that one time that it breaks and like McVay finally makes the adjustment? I mean, I hope it's not this time when our season's on the line.
Now we're gonna make it 6, and we'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, we're follow us by for a win because honestly, if Kyle beats McVay for the 6th straight time, then the amount of Rams and Kyle McVay, Kyle Shanahan, or Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan memes that I will post on this show will be hilarious. So stay tuned next week and see. But have a good night, everyone, and go Niners.